Many people look at a shopping mall and see the ultimate passive income stream. The idea is simple. You own a massive building, fill it with tenants, and collect rent from hundreds of businesses for the privilege of standing in front of your customers. But that simplicity disappears when you look at the leverage and the specific liabilities involved. A mall is actually a fragile financial machine designed around a few high-risk components. Successful mall ownership has very little to do with leasing square footage. The real business is trading foot traffic, bringing people through the doors and then selling their attention to the highest bidder. This creates a tightly interconnected financial ecosystem. Because every shop relies on the same flow of people, the failure of a single tenant can trigger a collapse that bankrupts the entire property. The barriers to entry are massive. Building a regional mall from scratch means managing tens of millions of dollars in land costs before pouring the concrete or running miles of wiring and climate control. By the time the ribbon is cut, construction costs can easily exceed hundreds of millions. The market values these buildings based on stability. A luxury Class A mall near a wealthy suburb can trade for over $1 billion because its income is predictable. Meanwhile, older malls with weaker tenants have sold for less than $2 million, a tiny fraction of what it originally cost to build them. Because price tags are so high, most malls are owned through real estate investment trusts, or REITs. Investors pool capital on the stock market to buy these properties. To avoid corporate taxes, REITs distribute nearly all profits back to shareholders yearly. This structure is why large-scale mall ownership exists in its current form. It turns the physical reality of a massive building into a liquid, tradable asset investors can buy for the price of a cup of coffee. If you look at the rent rolls of a top-tier mall, the disparity is striking. A small boutique might pay $60 per square foot, while the massive department store pays only $5. The store with the largest footprint often pays the lowest rate. This happens because the anchor provides foot traffic. The owner subsidizes the anchor's rent to draw people past smaller shops who actually pay full price. In this environment, position is more valuable than space. A center aisle kiosk occupies less than 100 square feet, but because it sits directly in the path of every shopper, it can be priced at a much higher rate than a full-size store. However, this entire income structure depends on the language of the co-tenancy clause, a standard feature in mall leases. These clauses state that if a major anchor store closes, the smaller stores in the mall have the legal right to pay reduced rent or even terminate their leases early. On the day a mall is purchased, it may look fully occupied and profitable. But if a single anchor store leaves, these clauses can trigger a wave of rent reductions, causing the property's cash flow to shift almost overnight. Early mall designers like Alfred Taubman maximized this effect by spacing anchors roughly 3 city blocks apart. They placed escalators and elevators at the ends of hallways to force shoppers to walk the full length of the corridor, ensuring they passed as many storefronts as possible. This logic failed when major anchors like Sears began to close simultaneously. Mall owners were left with massive, empty floor plates that are incredibly expensive to subdivide or convert for new tenants. Beyond the lost rent, vacancy creates a secondary problem through common area maintenance, or CAM. These are the shared costs for cleaning, security, and climate control for over 1 million square feet of space. The bill for running the building stays largely the same regardless of occupancy. When a mall loses stores, that fixed cost is divided among fewer paying tenants. The surviving shops see their expenses rise, just as the mall loses its draw, creating a cycle that pushes even the healthy stores to leave. Rolling Acres Mall in Ohio followed this path to its end. At its peak, it was 98% occupied, with 5 major department stores. But as those anchors slowly closed, the mall's valuation plummeted from over $30 million to less than $2 million. The building eventually sat empty for years, accumulating millions in unpaid taxes before it was finally demolished. Today, an e-commerce distribution center sits on the same land. Malls don't fail because of one bad season. They fail through a sequence of interconnected financial dominoes, where a single vacancy can remove the support for every other tenant in the building. Online shopping broke the mall's monopoly on convenience. To survive today, Owners have to move away from traditional retail and start selling physical experiences that cannot be delivered to a doorstep. Many are replacing empty department stores with medical clinics, fitness studios, and entertainment venues. These tenants require a physical location by definition, providing a more stable source of foot traffic. By adding co-working spaces, hotels, or apartments, owners can create a mixed-use property where several different income streams support the same building. This highlights the core truth of the industry. Every shop in a mall exists within a single, highly sensitive financial network. When an anchor leaves, it doesn't just leave a hole in the floor plan, it pulls the economic support out from every business left in the building.